Yes. So good evening, everybody, and a warm welcome to our monthly webinar series. We are putting this under this banner called Leadership Chaska. Okay, so Chaska in Hindi means addiction, and here Chaska means crossover hosted association for skills and knowledge advancement. So it is a not-for-profit association. We do this monthly webinar on some topics that are very relevant to our leaders to pick up from. Those who are new to me, my name is Yogesh Agiwal and I from Crossover Leadership Journeys. A brief about me, Sushanta is here, we work together at Wipro. So I worked for a very long time at Wipro. And so I come from a IT background, a computer engineer qualification. I did a lot of work in IT and then moved into leadership development when I got the award from Azim Premji for Best People Manager. So the reason I'm sharing this with you is that, and especially in today's topic that I'm going to talk about, is very dear to me because I got the award for Best People Manager. And while the times have changed, I know this is a very unprecedented time where there is a talent war going on. But in my experience, and while Crossover is not a very large company, but whatever I'm going to share today, we practice at Crossover, and we are in some form able to handle the talent well and become a talent magnet to attract a lot of good talent and retain them at our organization. Yeah, so I will walk you through a couple of interesting frameworks that you can possibly try it out. And since we are going to meet every month, so I request you all to join every month. And also, I join usually 15 minutes early before the webinar. So you can actually come and meet me 15 minutes before and clarify any doubts you may have or any questions you may have, which you can ask and check with me. These are not webinars which come up with topics which are new, in the sense these are frameworks that we are already using in our program. So we are a 6-year-old company. We have 150 plus clients. So whatever I'm going to share is been tried and tested by many clients. We have got testimonials, we have got impact report, we have got references. So it's not new it may be new for some of you, but it is not new as a research. It is all tried and tested. And at Crossover, we have an in-house content team, we have in-house mentoring team. So we always believe in a longer term approach, which means we do leadership journeys for 6 months, 12 months, 18 months, because we always feel that human transformation is not possible overnight. So those 1 day, 2 day program actually do not make any impact. So we do that model. So let me start, with this topic for today called becoming a talent magnet. So when you look at this topic itself, you would see that I just wanted to ask before I even begin the session is when you look at this title, what came to your mind? Yeah, what attracted you to come for the session, or what are some of the things that you have in mind when you look at a talent magnet, and how do you become a talent magnet? So any thoughts anybody can unmute and share. In the entire webinar, it is not going to be one way. Yeah, we should have interaction. These slides are just like a supporting slides for us to have conversation. So if so you just share whatever comes to your mind when you say becoming a talent magnet. Yeah.
Hi Yogesh, this is Preeta here from India.
Yeah.
I was more interested towards this because the name attracted it. It was a talent magnet. Currently, the situation in market is highly on attrition and job shoppers that we are dealing with. So I think this topic attracted me on that.
Okay, thank you so much. Yeah, and I think I like Satish's idea of raising the hand, because once you raise the hand, the Zoom moves you to the top, so I can see that who is asking questions. So if you want to, share something, it would be a good idea to raise the hand so I can see. So Satish, please share. Thanks, for sharing that, Preeta, and I hope you will get some interesting takeaways for you. Yeah.
Exactly. I'm waiting for it. Thanks.
Please. Yeah, Satish.
Yeah, Yogesh. Actually, after almost 4 or 5 months, in the last 4 or 5 months, after analyzing the data, because I also come from the IT background, and then I worked as a senior project manager as a
Yes.
computer science professional,
Yes.
and then I opted this profession to do more analysis on HR and resources and all this stuff.
Yes.
What I have realized that we are running to get the new talent from outside to
Yes.
onboard multiple people, but there is a bigger challenge. Rather than onboarding the people,
Yes.
do we have something fascinating to keep our
Mhm.
existing talent intact?
Very
Right.
nice.
So what I try to understand from this topic is that can we make our organization as a magnet, that if we have a talent, then it stays there, and we can simultaneously, attract the new as well. So the
Brilliant.
major thought is whether we should have the existing talent intact first.
Very nice, Satish. In fact, Satish, that when I go through this whole framework, you will see very interesting concepts coming out. That at the end, I'm going to talk about how leaders become talent diminishers unintentionally. Okay, which means that and I'm also going to talk about some intrinsic motivators. Okay, meaning see, there is money that motivates us. There is say all the fancies of a nice cafeteria, whatever. But then there is something called intrinsic motivation. This is also I'm going to talk about, and this is really in the hands of the managers to do that. So we'll cover very beautifully, Satish. Yeah. Patanjali, you want to share something? Yeah.
Yes, Yogesh. So I am here because this topic looked like a prescription for my pain point, right, on my day-to-day basis. So I am a HR practitioner, and it's been a leaking bucket. The great resignation trend is all over the world, and we are all into that rat race of, because every company whom we talk to has the same problem of attrition, and
Yes.
attrition being in huge numbers, unprecedented, which we have not seen. But
Yes.
that keeping aside, because it's written on the wall.
Yes.
Also, I also see a trend that the early bird attrition or the infant mortality rate within the organization.
Yes.
And interestingly, the reasons have been not with the people not being able to find a purpose.
Yes.
People not able to kind of align to the organizational values, or when they say values, basically they are people only mean to say, I was thinking something else, but it turned out to be something else.
Yes.
So then what's exactly in the minds of people is becoming a customized question. And as a HR professional, whilst it is our responsibility that we cater to everyone, it's very difficult to have a customized approach for every single employee of it. I'm here seeking some answers.
Lovely. So Patanjali, I'm going to share one very personal experience on the purpose part, and it is I have seen this particular CEO who was my client for about 3 years, and how beautifully he created purpose. And again, I say that this was not the time that we are seeing today, but I feel that even today, if I were to go and talk to the CEO, I think majority of people will still be with him, because he's really mastered the art of purpose. And we'll talk about that today.
Sure.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Yeah, Padma, you wanted.
Yeah, so I really am taken in by this comment that you made, that intrinsic motivation will really be the key in terms of attracting talent.
Yeah.
Because I recall reading a few days ago that there are organizations which are so short-sighted that they are willing to offer 50% hike to people joining in from outside. But when somebody within asks for 20% hike, they are not keen to accept that. So there is always that thing saying, "Ghar ki murgi dal barabar," right? So I think I resonate with the point that it's also very important to retain the people that we have. Using intrinsic motivation, because there will always be people with more financial muscle than us outside. So that by itself will not be a sufficient kind of a thing to retain people. I think that the culture within, as well as intrinsic motivation, I look forward to hearing your comments on this.
Sure. Okay, thanks, Padma. So I'll just begin by first starting by this. So the way I have structured today's webinar is that so I'll first start with the basic leadership of how do people manage. Okay, so for example, if I decide to say join say Contela as an example, and we have got Gayatri here from Contela, and Gayatri is somebody who is like very particular about giving every instruction. So She goes and, when I join, she gives me all the guidance, and every day she checks on how I'm doing. And it's 4 years now, and even today, Gayatri gives me every instruction every day. And I feel very, constrained by this micromanagement. Yeah. And then I have also experienced with Patanjali, who is somebody who feels that, I think, what is there to give instruction every day? People should figure it out themselves. What is there to guide them every day? And when I joined, Patanjali is not even there for day one to receive me or tell me where is the cafeteria, whatever the policy. So one may ask that whose leadership style is good? Is Patanjali's leadership good as an extreme delegator, or is Gayatri's style good as a micromanager? Now, the question is, both styles are good. But the thing is, when do you apply the style? So Gayatri should apply the style when Yogesh is new. And as Yogesh becomes experienced, she should move to Patanjali style. Now, the problem is, each of us have a dominant style, which we sometimes are not aware of. So we end up using the same style for all types of people. So if we could learn this, and there's a very interesting framework called contextual leadership. If we can learn this framework, we can gradually start becoming self-aware of my own dominant style and start flexing my style based on the level of the reporting. Now, if Gayatri were to do the first style with me initially and then move to Patanjali style, I will feel super that she helped me settle down beautifully, and now she is giving me complete autonomy to work on my own. If Patanjali could learn Gayatri style for the beginning and then become delegate, it's very awesome. So we will look at how one can flex. So if you look at, there are two aspects of leadership. One is the directive behavior, which means you're telling people what to do, why to do, when to do, and how to do. Yeah. So this is a directive part of the leadership style. And then there is another dimension called the supportive behavior of the leader, which is listening for concerns, asking questions, providing feedback. So if you look at these two behaviors, they get plotted in two axes. One is the axis called the directive behavior. And then we have got axis, the y-axis called the supportive behavior. And then there are 4 quadrants in this. We call them as style 1, style 2, style 3, and style 4. Yeah. So when I am new, yeah, so Gayatri essentially gives me all the direction. Yeah. So she tells me, this is the way we work at Quantilla, this is the policy, this is how the things has to be done. So there is no supportive, when I say, no conversation about, well, I'm very new. I don't even know about any of those. So Gayatri applies this style. And then I start becoming like 6 months now in Quantilla, and slowly what happens is that Gayatri also asks me that in this particular delivery, do you have any input on how we can do it better? And then I give some input. So there is high direction, high support, which means there is a conversation that is happening with me where Gayatri is also taking some input. Now, it's about 2 years, 3 years, I have been working beautifully, but suddenly my performance drops. Now Gayatri applies style 3, which is low direction, but high support, which means I know my job, so there is no direction required. But what does supporting mean? She'll ask me questions. She'll ask me that, hey Yogesh, what's happening? Is there any concern that you have? Is there any problem that you're facing? And I might say, yeah, I'm having some challenges on my health side or my personal side. And she gives me enough support for me to, bounce back. I become active again. And then she applies style 4, which is essentially low direction, low support. And then which is basically the style where I'm again on my own. I don't need any direction. I don't need any support. I'm my own. And then once I am good at a particular task, okay, which I'm doing, Gayatri starts with me on another task. So again, she gives me a new project. She applies S1 for the new project, again applies S2. If I'm not performing for a certain period of time, then she applies S3 and again makes me bounce back and makes me S4. So Gayatri never leaves me alone all through the journey. So I am so inspired by Gayatri's constant development of me, Because every time I become S4 on a particular technology, project, domain, she gives me a new S1. She gives me a new area. And there is no scope for me to even think of anything else, because every day I'm enjoying learning something new. Every day I'm enjoying, working on this with Gayatri, and Gayatri takes pride in developing people. So she's not worried about whether there is too much of attrition, whether there is, because there are people constantly available to move that. Yeah. So I'll take a pause here and take some reflections from you. I can see Sushanta already raising his hand. Sushanta, please.
Yeah, so Yogesh, I just wanted to understand that when like the example you are walking us through, that early phase of any project, or when Yogesh is new to the organization and Gayatri is kind of applying the style S1. So S1 is essentially high direction but moderate support. So why is that moderate support? Should it not be S2 directly, right? Or why is it that starting with moderate support and then subsequently are moving into high support?
Yes. So yeah. So support here means not the English support or the language. Support here means the input from the reportee, meaning input from the new joinee. So it is like the conversation. It is like the supportive conversation, not the real support. Which means that Gayatri is not there that she will abandon me. But there is no need to have too much of conversation, because it's just direction. It was ye karo, wo karo type. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. Because see, one more thing, Sushanta, we have to also start thinking about is the leader's bandwidth. Now, the more and more people I have on S4, the more I get time to do things that I want to do as a leader. Otherwise, you're struggling for time. So today, if you start thinking about this framework, you will start seeing that you have got more and more bandwidth getting created, because more and more people are moved to S4 by you.
Yeah, yeah.
In fact, I am going to give you guys a exercise to really start mapping your team once you go back to your your workplace, and see how where are you, and this is like not something that a leader does on purpose, but what happens is that we become so. I'll give you one example of one of the very large retail organization, where they had invited me for a half-day session for the CEO and his direct reports. And I told the HR that, kya mazak kar rahe ho? Because, how can I essentially do a program for a CEO who is running 2,700 crore company? And he said, no, we have an offsite. Why don't you come and do that half-day session? And what I did is that I essentially put this framework on. And at the, say, 45th minute or an hour, I asked this direct reports that, how many of your people are in S4? And almost out of 11, 9 said, all my people are in S4. And then I asked them an interesting question. I said, can you tell me one large initiative that you have started in last 3 months where these people have moved to S1 again? And then people are looking left and right and they're saying, boss, I don't really recall a big initiative. And I said, it is not your fault. It is very natural for us to get trapped into a comfort zone that apne sab public kaam kar rahi hai, they are all in S4, and that is where the competition comes and takes new skills, develops new people, and suddenly you find your set of people lagging on the skill. So this framework will be such a powerful reminder for all of us that we never let our people in S4 for too long. You will quickly move them to S1 on new task. So the moment I asked this question and people looking at each other, I said, this is not unusual. It is very natural for any leader to happen. Our idea is to constantly, I mean, this particular slide, I think everybody should keep a printout and keep it in front of them every day. If you have a people responsibility, this is absolutely required. Yeah. So yeah, Padma, you want to ask something?
Yeah, so I was just thinking about what Mr. Sushanta asked about the moderate support. And I quite agree with you, particularly because when millennials, centennials come into the workforce, even when they are new, they definitely like to be consulted. Yeah. We cannot just say direction and expect them to just perform. People who come in, particularly the current generation, people who are coming in, definitely want to be consulted, want to be part of the decision-making process. And therefore, I agree with you that moderate support in S1 is definitely needed
Yeah.
for the current times.
Yes, yes, sure, sure, no problem. So when you look at this, as a model, you start seeing that this framework. How does it play out in terms of decision making? So if you look at, again, there are two axes. One is the leader's responsibility, and other is the participation of the two leader and the reportee. So you can see, if you look at the first quadrant, yeah. So here the leader decides, because he doesn't let, he almost says to the person that, oh, you should go in this direction. But in style 2, the leader decides with inputs from the reportee, because here is where he starts developing the reportee. So Gayatri will ask Yogesh, "Hey, Yogesh, what do you think in this case? Should we go hiring with this way, or should we do whatever?" Yeah, I am giving input. And now Gayatri has developed me in such a way that some of the geographies I'm handling myself, but suddenly there is a dip in my performance. So Gayatri gives me the support to bounce me back, but Gayatri still doesn't make any decision. She lets me decide decide whatever I want to decide, and gets me ready for bouncing back again. And then in S4, the team member decides alone. So this is how it works in terms of decision making. Yeah. If you look at in terms of communicating, yeah. So again, there are two axes, and I'm going to send all the slides to all of you. Karthik will email it to you, or Pooja, and you can. It is a webinar format, so I have a constraint of 90 minutes. So I will not be able to spend as much time. But this program is run like a 2 half-day program where we go in detail each of these areas. And the style 1 is active influencing, which means the leader is giving constant information. But style 2 is active on both, which means the leader is seeking information and also giving information. But if you look at active in S3, is just active listening, which means the leader is not giving too much of information to the team member, because the leader knows that, I think he's been working, Yogesh is working for 3 years. So there is no big deal about giving the detail, and it's just matter of his motivation or some personal challenge. And then S4 is about limited on both, meaning Gayatri is just once in a while asking me, "Hey Yogesh, how is it going? Yeah, is there anything, any help do you need?" And that's it. So limited on both. So active influencing, active on both, active listening, and limited on both. Now, if you look at this, finally, what this culminates into is the attributes of leadership. So if you look at the last bullet in this, is what I would like your attention on. So if you look at the first quadrant, yeah, which is the S1, you will see that the leader gives recognition for complying, which means the leader recognizes that whatever direction I gave, I think you're listening to what I'm sharing. S2, the leader recognizes for quality of input, which means Gayatri will really appreciate when I give some quality input, and she will encourage me to think about, how are you really getting those inputs? What is your plan on that? So she is, recognizing the, quality for input. Third is gives recognition for seeking advice, because I'm actually seeking advice of Gayatri. Yeah. So you are basically, Gayatri is, as a leader, appreciating, recognizing that. And last is recognizing for assuming responsibility, because here Yogesh is taking the entire responsibility, and leader recognizes this contribution of the team member. So if you look at the attributes, and when you spend some time thinking about it, you can start seeing this 4 quadrant. Yeah. So what I would like to do you is just take about 5 to 7 minutes, and I'll keep this slide on again once again. But what I want you all to do now is that just at least for 2 leaders or 2 team members, I would like you to write their current performance level, which means that you're essentially mapping S1 to P1. So if suppose Yogesh, when he was new, I was at P1 level. When I moved to P2 level, then I moved to P3 level, and then I moved to P4 level. So it is going in the same way. And here what I would like you to do is that write down the at least 1 or 2 team members' name. Write down what is the performance level according to you, what is your current style, and what should be a new style. So for example, you may see that Yogesh is already at P4, and Gayatri may realize that I am still operating with style 1. Maybe I should change my style to S4. Yeah. Or somebody is not performing, is gone back to P1. Maybe I should apply S3, which is listening to his concerns and do that. Yeah. So just as a practice, I want 5 minutes, all of you, to do this exercise on your notepad, and then and then I'll take up any questions before we move to a very interesting aspect of what we should be careful about when we do this framework implementation. Yeah. And I'm also on chat in case you have any questions, you can ask me. Yeah. Satish, if you can unmute and ask, I would like to answer. And
Yogesh, probably I think I missed some because of some other call. This performance level, when we say P1 to P4 for the employee,
yes,
is it? Are you talking of the lower performance is called P1? Is something like that, or how is that?
no. So maybe what I'll do is I'll have one of the participant, answers.
Sorry, that is why.
No worries. So I can also know whether my participants are fully,
Okay.
understand.
No, just some disturbance happened.
No problem. Anybody would like to respond to Satish? Yeah. Anybody can answer from our participant list. Yeah.
That would be nice. Thank you.
Yeah. Sure.
Let me just try it out, Yogesh.
Please,
Maybe
please,
not
please.
as effective as you do.
No, please, brother. But you have a fantastic voice, trainer's voice, actually.
Thank you, Janaab. Thank you.
Yeah.
So Satish, it's often possible that we kind of can confuse the P1 to P4 to a stack ranking system, but that's not it. But maybe whilst we have what we see on the screen is about the quadrangles. Typically, what we would have seen the blind spots of each personality, right? Johari window wala style, similar way. Each of these quadrangle means a different level of employee. So essentially, if at all you look into a journey of a person as a new joinee to a seasoned employee, the guidance here is about what is the style of leadership, what a manager needs to use at that point of time in that particular phase of that employee. So S1 essentially refers to a phase where employees too new about the organization, to the work, to the culture and things like that, wherein he would need more support, wherein a more constant communication might have to be happening between manager in terms of direction, in terms of work, in terms of expectation. So that is what comes in S1. When it goes to the S2 is a typical phase where employees has an understanding or a minimum understandings about the expectations from the role and organization, where he would kind of go ahead and start doing things, but then it doesn't mean that you can let your guard down. You need to keep a constant supervision or at least vision on about what's happening around there. S3 is a situation where employee knows and understands the job well done, and you can actually let him a little loose. It's just that if at all the person is not able to perform as per your expectation, you may have to kind of be available to kind of keep a dipstick and see if things are okay and probably to get him back to the track. S4 is a level where he is a perfect individual contributor. He knows what is expected out of him, and he delivers no nonsense guy. So that's something you can kind of keep a reference when we're talking from S1 to S4.
Okay.
Very nice, super.
Very
Yogesh ji, sahi tha kya?
अरे बहुत बढ़िया. So in fact, we can clap. So these are virtual clap, Patanjali. So we don't unmute and clap. So this is the way you clap. Yeah. Very nice. I think after you retire from Qualitest, please join us as a facilitator. Yeah. So fantastic. Bang on, Satish. Hope you got it. And
No, got it. Thank you.
yeah, and see some of these, I feel that it's like performing arts. So I might give you all this framework, but unless you go and really try it, and I've been trying this for so many years, and it's fantastic. You all will find so beneficial to try this out. And while we try this out, what we should be careful about is that when you are say in S1 quadrant, and you're directing them, they should not perceive you as dominating. So there is an interesting module we run called communication with humble inquiry, which means that as a leader, your communication should be that the reportee team member doesn't feel that you're dominating. Yeah. When you're S2, where you are trying to solve the problem with the team member, you're trying to take some of his inputs, they should not feel that you're over involving, which means that in the background, your context should be that I'm using my knowledge, I'm using my experience to develop people. So that should be constant in your background. S3 is when you're trying to really develop them because they are at a stage where they know domain, they know the subject, they know the work, but they are somehow not performing, which means that there is a pivot point. So you should not be over accommodating. Okay, so Gayatri should not tell me that, and I'm using Gayatri as my character today for the session. So Gayatri, thank you for allowing me to do that. So Gayatri should not essentially just simply say that if Yogesh, you are not able to do, I'll take it up from you. Okay, Gayatri should give me enough coaching so that I am able to bounce back. Okay, if she takes away from me, then I am back to S1. Okay, so that is the over account. And last is that S4 doesn't mean that you as a leader has gone away completely and abdicated the person. Abdicating should not happen. Yeah. So this is what you should be watchful about. Yeah, Satish, please.
Yeah, so this is really very interesting to know that 4 quadrants.
Yes.
My query is sometimes it happens when you get an opportunity to lead a team where you do not have that sort of expertise.
Yes.
Right. That specifically in the domain knowledge.
Yes.
Right? So you see that the people who are reporting to you as having more experience into particular domain, but because you have overall bigger experience as a professional,
yes,
or you are good at something which makes you as a leader of that team,
yes,
or management has decided to make you as a leader.
Yes.
In that situation, I just need to understand how this framework will work, because there are 2 aspects while working in the corporate.
Yes.
One is the people management, which
Yes.
always comes into picture.
Yes.
But on the other hand, there is a technology, there is something which is being delivered to client. So that is another aspect that is called delivery, right?
Yes. Yes.
So in that situation, when the leader is one and he is good at people management, but not that much good as his team into the delivery part, how the framework will impact?
So Satish, very interestingly, as I was saying, I come from a complete Oracle technology background. In 2009, when I was moved to a department where I had 11 clinical psychologists, can you imagine? I had no idea of clinical psychology. I mean, from a technology perspective, right? So what my view is that one is that I started getting myself certified on 11 certifications. So there is no denial that a leader has to surely equip himself or herself with the domain. But during the journey of those, say 3 years, or when I was trying to really bond with my team, I think the leader's ability to manage the perspective and give enough freedom for people to take the input and maneuver that input to the advantage of development is something does not need to have a deep technology skill, which means that I should be having enough maturity to take the input from people, process it in such a way that you're moving people ahead. So you don't need to fully be like, you don't need to be hands-on forever, but you should not be completely away from having a bigger view of how the technology can be used or how the technology can be deployed for the, for the people. So my view is that as you grow, and there are certain areas of, we also run programs on coaching, which essentially means that it is agnostic to domain, it is agnostic to technology, and a leader should actually have that maturity to, and then we'll and when you do, and there is one more topic that I'll talk about in the mastery part. And again, Sadi, this would need a little bit of discussion, because even if you look at this area, what is the level of people that we are discussing? If you're talking about this framework for a team leader, it will be a little different than somebody who's at a general manager level. So maybe when we understand, Satish, the context, I think we can bring this same framework to that context. So for a team leader, maybe the level of technology awareness is much higher compared to a general manager, but the philosophy is same. Philosophy doesn't change. Like we have run the same framework for vice president, same framework for team leaders also. So the context will change.
Yeah. So basically, I come from my own, transition, because just if you would have met me 2.5 years back,
yes,
then I was carrying a 12 years of experience of technology driven.
Yes.
I started my career as a developer,
yes,
right? .NET technology developer, and then I become a MCT Microsoft certified trainer,
yes,
and delivered so many technological solutions.
Yes.
Just working as a lead and then project
Sure.
manager and all those sort of
Sure.
profiles. And in my current organization also, I have joined as a senior project manager.
Yes.
So the first 1.5 year, I was totally involved into the delivery. But again, the people have found me as a good people handler or people manager. Then they decided
Sure.
to move me into HR.
Sure.
So suddenly one day I become a HR manager, and my entire team. I have not done any MBA in HR. I'm masters in computers, and my entire team is MBA in HR, carrying 8 to 9 years of experience.
Yes.
They knows every in and out about the HR profile. And the same, I started doing the certifications. I did my all SHRM certifications,
Very nice.
and I just keep on doing. But the challenge what I face, right, handling the people have that psychology that the manager does not come from that background. Everyone is having their own thought process in the team.
So
handling that becomes-
it is just matter of some time. I think, once you get a hang of it, I think they will change their perception very soon, So I had the same perception with my team for the first 2 years, but today I think there is no longer there. So just give some time to yourself, Yeah.
Yes.
Hi,
Thank you.
Narendra. Yeah. Narendra, please.
Sorry. Yeah, Yogesh, I think you partially answered when you were responding to Satish. My
Yes.
question is, see this framework, it looks very good. And I believe, it really works when there is a structure, order, and more importantly, when you give time.
Yes.
But the challenge we face, I've been in the company for 10 years. Maybe I
Yes.
was also, generous enough to give time to my manager to put me through all the buckets. And this is how they coached me. And I'm a happy employee, and I would definitely want to continue under their leadership.
Yes.
But the challenge we face is, the moment someone joins, whether it's a junior level or senior level, the first thing they would do is, they will also upload their CV on Naukri. Okay. Or, they will run their hunting in parallel. And that's the biggest reason, of this great resignation phase we are also going through, right? So
Yeah.
how do we, in such hurried world, how do we implement, this, and how do we borrow some time to show to our one-downs, our teams that, hey, you know what, we are going to groom you, we are going to build your career. Don't just look for money. This all sounds philosophical, but that's the real, reality, right?
Yeah. So Narendra, today we don't have time, but I would like to do a role play with you where I will become a new joinee and I will ask you to become my manager when you're receiving for the first time. Yeah. And I must say to you, Narendra, that I have done this role play for 12 years. I just recently did for a client in Trivandrum, and no offense to any managers. Okay. But what happens is the first connection that you're making when an employee comes in, a lot of managers are not taught to build that connect in the first meeting. So what is happening is it is like, when say our daughters get married and she goes to a new home, right? If people don't receive her at that first week in the way that she is expecting, you will see that the bond is not as great. And you see a lot of fallout after that with the relations. So what is happening is that, and I will ask Karthik to email you a very interesting first manager readiness 72 questions. You don't use 72 questions, but the approach to that is so beautifully starting with where did you do your studies, who are at home, what do you like on weekends, what were some of your past experiences working with managers, what are your preference about work timings. So you're just spending 20 minutes with those 72 questions. And I can tell you that in those 20 minutes, the guy has built such a bond with Narendra that every time he, even after uploading to Naukri and he connects with any other company, somewhere in his heart he's feeling that will I get a Narendra-like person that side. Now, if you do it little later, you have lost that opportunity because I'll give you one example. When I had a new joinee, when I was like asking this question to him, say, tell me about your family, who all are there? And he said, my mom is there. And I said, how is she? Is health all right? And he suddenly was very quiet. And I said, what happened? And he said, no, my mom is going through a cancer treatment and she goes to America Cancer Hospital in the morning. I have to take her for chemotherapy. So I said, what time do you come back from chemotherapy? He said, 9:30. And I said, where do you live? He said, I live it in Amirpet. So then how would you come to, Madhapur by 10 o'clock is our login time? He said, that's what I'm worried about. So can I put you in UK shift? He said, that would be fantastic because UK shift starts at 2:30 only. And I have no problem staying back late. So what I've done, Narendra, is that if I had not done this 20 minutes exercise, I would have put him in an Australia shift or I would have put him in an India shift. Now, every day this guy is struggling to come to office, is rushing from the chemotherapy, and every day is coming late for 15-20 minutes. Client escalation, all that starts happening. Yeah. So the point is, if I were to start, using those 72 questions, you don't need to use 72 questions. You can, I've just put it together as a comprehensive list of this. And I've been running this for 12 years. Okay. And I've got participants who have started using this, and they say that the insight that we get in those 20 minutes, the connection that we build this guy, he thinks 10 times before quitting your organization. Yeah, I will get extra money there, but will I get Narendra there? Will I get somebody who is taking care of my mom, who is such an important aspect of my life in this phase? What will I do with that 30% salary hike if I can't even save my mother? And every day there is a stress. He is stressing because he comes in late. I get upset because he's logging in late. The client is upset because he's logging in late. He's such a fantastic guy. Now, if you put him in the UK shift, he is not bothered. He, in fact, sits with his mom, has lunch. He spends time when mom is sleeping in the late night. He reaches by 10:30, 11. Fantastic routine has started. Yeah. So my feeling is the infant mortality is because somewhere I think the managers are only taking care of getting their laptops, getting their, the connections, asking them about the projects, introducing them to the cafeteria. All that is important. I'm not denying that. But that can happen later. You don't have to worry. The first day is like the deep connection. I always recommend that meet the new joinee at around 12 o'clock, if it is post-COVID time. Take him out for lunch in the same cafeteria. Have lunch with him. The family who eats together lives together. There is a psychological bond that is built when you're doing lunch with him. Okay, and in the same tiffin that you're carrying, don't need to spend any extra money. Just that gesture, I always used to receive my new employees from the reception in the morning at 9 o'clock. They don't know that I'm heading the Oracle practice of Hyderabad. They know only later. But that gesture of receiving the first day in the morning at the reception really puts this guy on completely cloud nine. That was such a respect I've got that somebody who's coming, and on the way you pick up a coffee, have the coffee on the way. So my cabin was about 7 minutes walk from the parking lot. Got that extra time with this guy, ask all this, and then say that let's catch up at 12 for detailed discussion, have lunch with him. Fantastic day for him, and then put him in the people whom you have taken care of. So what is happening? You're putting this guy in a, so if say Padma is from Kerala, okay, and he's gone he's gone to Trivandrum Engineering College if he's studied. If you know that he's also from the same college, put them in that, with this introduction with them. So Padma will take care of me for the rest of the day. You don't have to worry. Yeah. So these are very small practices which somewhere I think most managers have not really picked up, or they have not seen their managers doing. If Narendra, we can help our new first-time managers, project managers to adopt this practice. It is not at all time-consuming. It is just that they don't know. Sometimes people think that, is it getting too personal about asking about the family and all that? No, it is not personal. You are actually doing with the intention that I should know the background so I can really plan better. There are people who don't want to go on site because their sister is getting married 3 months later. There are people who want dying to go on site because they are not getting matrimonial because they don't have a stamp of America. So if you know all this, then only you can plan these people's career ahead of time. Yeah. So now I'll ask Karthik to email. I'll email to all of you. It's a fantastic 72 questions in a structured manner. Please circulate with your team members and ask them to use that, and it's very powerful actually. Yeah. So I know I have to cover quite a bit. So if you guys allow, I can take it forward. But thanks for asking this question. And while we complete this first framework, I also want to bring it to your attention that whenever you look at, and this is called as performance potential as a concept, but essentially what are we saying? That any goal that you have for your project or for your team, you essentially break them down into tasks. Okay, so you've got multiple tasks for a particular goal. Okay, so you might have on the left-hand side a vision, mission, and all that, but ultimately it's a goal. Okay, then you have tasks. But when you look at a task, many times a manager don't look at it from both angles. Okay, so they either look at it only with ability or they look at it only with motivation. Now the challenge is, if you don't look at it, you will falter in your execution for retaining him, because assuming that if the guy is not at all motivated to do something that he's not wanting, and you keep sending him for one training after another, you're wasting his time and he's not interested. On the other hand, he's highly motivated, but you have not taken care of about his ability, which means can he do the job? Now, if you take care of these two things, you will start seeing that every resource that is available, either they're lacking ability to do or they're lacking motivation to do. So when you're doing this first exercise, so I told you about this guy, whose mother was having this chemo. So ability is fantastic. I hired him for the skill that he has, but motivation to do that, the particular task in that project will be a challenge. So if you were to give this slide to your entire project teams and the delivery teams and tell them that whenever you are asking for a resource who is not performing, have you done this check on this, whether the issue is about ability or issue is about motivation? If you can not have these two together, you will start seeing that people will not be enjoying the work they are doing. And if I do this, and you can see that if I am having this approach, then what is happening is that I am not labeling people. I am getting so granular that I will have each resource that I can start utilizing for that task, which means that even if today there is a talent war, there are a lot of people whom I can actually utilize. I saw, even Indrajit sending a comment of disability people as a pool that we can tap in. At Crossover, we tap in a lot of work from home moms, which is an untapped, resource that is available. So if you can do this, so again, so using with the previous framework and this, you can try to see how you can develop people. And once you are developing people, you are actually becoming a magnet for getting people to uproot it. And this question I wanted to move to the next part of our session is, like we spoke about this, motivation and ability. So what is the history of motivation? Like, how do people get really motivated? Any thoughts on this before I take you on this? Any thoughts on how do people, or rather, I'm just watching my clock and it is already 6 o'clock. So if you don't mind, I will go a little bit solo now and little bit in download mode, because I think we'll not have time to have a lot of conversation. But if there is a pressing question that you have in between, you can let me know. So if you look at this history of motivation, motivation 1.0 was more of survival, where people essentially would go for hunting, and they would bring food, they would bring whatever for their family, because survival was the mode. Then, we got industrial revolution, we progressed, and eventually there was this rewards and punishment, which means the HR would tell that if you don't complete your, say, appraisal by this date, we will have, your rewards going, or the sales team, we have incentives. And nothing wrong in that, okay, which is motivation 2.0. Then we have the last one, which is motivation 3.0, which is MAP, which is purpose, autonomy, and mastery. These are the 3 level. And those who have not read this book, called Drive by Daniel Pink, I would recommend each one of you to read the book called Drive. So if you look at this, there is autonomy, there is purpose, and there is mastery. What do you mean by autonomy? Autonomy is letting people the freedom to choose the way they want to do a task. And I really give this example of my son, my son Akash, who was in his engineering break, and he was like idling at home, and I told one day to him, "Yaro, bathroom ka bulb kharab ho gaya, why don't you go and get it fixed? It's been 3 days and you're just loitering around." And these youngsters wear this very fitted jeans, So I gave him a very big lecture that how are you going to take this bulb to the electrical shop because you're wearing such a fitted jeans. So my son said, "Give me a minute," and he pulled out his smartphone from his pocket with the fitted jeans. He went into the bathroom, clicked the bulb from the top, bottom, and the side, and he said that, "I'll now take this picture to the electrical shop and show the picture and get the bulb." And I was like thinking that, why did I not think about this? What is the need to take the bulb? Because taking the bulb, because in my mind, the bulb has to be taken very carefully in the pocket. It should not get broken or all that. And I was thinking that he also should do the same thing. But when I saw this, I felt that, oh, this is fantastic way of solving this bulb problem. So I thought, better let me go into my room and not have further conversation, because pehle इज्जत का कचरा हो गया तो और क्या चाहिए. So he said to me, "Dad, can I talk to you for 1 more minute?" I said, "Abhi kya bacha hai?" So he said, "See, this Mahalakshmi Electrical definitely will have WhatsApp, and he lives behind our complex. I will take his WhatsApp number. Next time we'll send the picture, the bulb will come in the night. You don't have to go even there." And I had 2 choices at that time. One, as a manager or as a father, use my position and power and say, "Boss, I am paying for engineering college, go and do whatever I'm saying." Other is, I hugged him and I said, "Hey, awesome, yeah. Your dad could never think about the innovative ways you could solve the problem." Now, this was a classic example of autonomy, which means that my son got so bonded with me that today in Crossover, he gives me so many suggestions of free apps, free websites, automation, versus if I had used my position and power, he would have stopped talking to me. If I were to bring this to corporate, I know that there is a certain protocol, there is a certain regulation that we have to follow. I'm not denying that. But in the boundary of whatever we are in, can we give enough autonomy to people? Because if you don't give autonomy, you will not be able to find solutions, because you are restricted by your own experience, and people feel very motivated to get there. Second is purpose, which means, why are we doing this? Yeah, whatever you are doing. So at Crossover, whenever people ask us our purpose, we don't say we are a training company. We don't say we are a leadership development company. We say we are a human transformation company. I know it's thoda zyada hai, but the idea is people are seeing that as a much more, like Priya is right here. She is one of our mentors and she keeps hearing me about the human transformation. In fact, we have internally, we call it Manav Kalyan. So all our meetings are Manav Kalyan meeting. Yeah. So we essentially look at a very different view of our organization. So purpose is much larger. Yeah. Last is mastery, which means, are we learning something new every day? Which means that are you you're now relating this back to your earlier framework, the contextual leadership. So you use that framework, create mastery, because if every day people are learning something new, if every day they know what is the purpose, they get enough autonomy to do work in their own, there is a high chance that they would not want to go to any other organization. Even if it is there, they would feel very restricted to go, because, and these are all like intrinsic motivation, which means that this doesn't need any additional money to be invested. It is just the outlook of the way you operate will have to do that. So all of you should read this book called Drive by Daniel Pink. So Karthik, if you can just put it on the chat, fantastic book called Drive by Daniel Pink, you all should read. Now, when we, like, I know there is huge resignation that are happening and people are very upset, but I personally feel that, and I've done this for series of clients and I keep doing it again and again. And my idea of doing this is not to corner my leaders or participants. My idea is to tell them that what you're doing right now is something that you didn't anticipate and you're not prepared for that. So if you look at this slide, you can broadly divide your workforce or your people under 3 buckets. One is design. So if I've got 10 people under me, I will have 2 people in design, say about 7 people in default, and maybe 1 person in defined. What does that mean? Design are the people who are your go-getters, who are the people who are absolutely the high performers. The tendency of most leaders is to focus on the design. They somehow, and defined are people who come to office, take their salary, do the work, no problem in that. Defined are people who are constantly upset with the organization. Either they have a promotion issue, they have some past issue. What is now happening is, if I can plot this, okay, I can plot my people who are there in default and at least try to move 2 people from default to design. Now, I was leading this program for a very senior audience last week, and they were saying that the management is not giving us money to hire new people. Where will I get 40% hike? My people are leaving 40% hike. I said, good. If the person is leaving 40%, you celebrate. Then, when you have default ready to take design role. So if I have 2 people ready any given point of time for design, I don't have to worry. I will always say to this design guys, great, I'm happy that you have got such a high side, and I'll move default people there. So the default people are right now not motivated because your focus is always on design. And not that you're doing it on purpose. I'm not saying that any leaders does anything on purpose. It is just that you have to be conscious that I should not be focusing on the design all the time. The design are already at 90% performance. If you spend time on them, you will take them to 95, 97. But default is at 60. If you spend time on them, you will take them to 90. Now, if you look back this entire webinar that we have constructed, you go back and see where you have started. So the more and more people you have in S4, you are moving some of the default people ready for design. So in fact, I told these senior guys that, and there's a 6 months engagement we have with them. I started to plot that in the classroom. I said, I want you to plot right now. And I'm going to work with 6 months to move at least 2 people from default to design. Then you have no problem telling the design guys also. I heard Narendra saying that people upload the resume on Naukri and wherever. Good. Please go ahead. No problem. I've got these people ready for me. In fact, I'll be glad if you leave because I will have other people who can be promoted. So you get 40%, I get my design default team to going up. Yeah. So I have no problem people leaving. Yeah. And personally at Crossover, I can tell you that in last 6 years, we have never had anybody who give me dhamki about leaving for any higher salary. No problem. But you have to map this. So this is another slide that I would like all of you to print out, keep it ready. Let this leader think about who are my people in design. And I'm not saying that we should let this design people go out of the organization. Create new business units, create new projects, create new geographies, move these design people to new geographies. So I'm not letting people go out of my organization. but I have to put this model in place. Yeah. If I have this model, I'm not worried about the talent anymore. You're constantly having these people ready. And this is by this author called Kenneth Thomas's research, very beautiful research. Yeah. And then finally, so again, in the deck, when Karthik sends it to you, you will have this beautiful, activity that you can do. So map your team, that who are in defined, who are in default, who are in design, and spend your time with default accordingly. Have a plan for at least 2 default people coming to design. And lastly, I think this is my last section of today's session, that how do many leaders become accidental diminishers of talent instead of multiplier of talent? And I'll give you an example. So what happens is that, as we grow in our life, initially we get rewarded for the problem that we solve. So I remember when I first learned, Oracle 3.0 forms technology, I used to super take pride in, writing code, solving problems. But as we grow in our career, I think we should stop doing that. We should not solve problems of any team. So if Karthik comes to me, or Pooja Jain comes to me, or Pooja Adhikari, I should not be giving a solution immediately. I should be holding myself on giving solution and say, hey Karthik, what do you think about this? Yeah. He's asking me for that, email merge problem. Yeah. I didn't sit in the same evening. Next day, Pooja Jain solved the problem. Yeah. I should not be the idea guy all the time. I should not be the rapid responder. I should not be the always on guy. There are leaders who are awake till 12 o'clock in the night. When people call them, they take pride in solving their problems. No, we should not. That doesn't mean that you're not available for the people. You pick up the phone at 12, no problem, but don't give the solution. But if you're always going to be a rapid responder, you're always going to be always on guy, you're the guy who's setting the pace all the time, you're the guy who's rescuing people and always giving ideas, where will people develop themselves? This is a very tricky problem I'm putting on front of you, because first I told you that you apply that contextual leadership framework, and now I'm saying that you do that. But the balance of being available, yet letting people start thinking on their own. Let them come up, let their cognitive abilities be developed. Now, once in a while, if there is a customer issue, you can't be waiting that I have learned this framework, I'm in the mode of, no, you should surely jump in, but not every time. And you will see in so many organizations, people just don't contribute. They're waiting for the leader to come in the meeting and they start the discussion. Why? Let people come up with 15 different options, and you as a leader may be possibly having a discussion on those items. So you should be able to relate to yourself that what are you? Are you an idea guy? Are you a rapid responder? Yeah. Are you a pace setter? Are you an always on guy, or are you a rescuer? So when you go back, here is the last exercise for you. How will you make your talent multipliers, and curtail your tendency to not get into this mode very regularly? So you can identify with yourself, what is your general tendency? Are you an idea guy? Are you a pace setter? Are you a rapid responder? Make sure that you are not letting that tendency. So all across in the session, I wanted to also bring to your attention that each one of us have got a dominant tendency, whether it is the starting point, whether it is this point. We have to become self-aware of ensuring that I am not one of them and trying to develop my people. Yeah. Yeah, Patanjali, you're unmuted. Yeah.
Yogesh, I just was reflecting on my own situation. I joined this organization 6 months ago.
Yes.
And I inherited a team which was already there.
Yes.
And my team literally expects me to be all these things because their previous manager was like that.
Yes.
And by design, I am not like that. I am a little more lazy guy. And I have actually encountered problems because of that. And the cross talks happening in the team that nahi yaar, pehla wala manager sahi tha, क्योंकि वो कुछ तो बताता था. ये बंदा तो ज्यादा ज्ञान दे देता है, कुछ करने देता ही नहीं है और करता नहीं है. So this is where it's not as simple as we look like, though it's a very much realistic mirror. I think cutting the balance is a huge task.
Yes, absolutely. I mean, it takes time because they are so used to that previous manager. and this is, Patanjali not new. I mean, this is rampant because the manager thought that my job is to always solve problems. No, your job is to develop people. The job is not solve problems. Solving problem is not sustainable model.
Correct. So even for the audience today here, there could be an opposite problem of all these things as well, simultaneously as we speak.
Yes, why not? Why not? Yeah. So my idea today was, Patanjali, to trigger all this in all of you, so that when you go back, you can try and reflect, and at some point you will feel like, let's call crossover for a workshop, and you'll call Karthik. Is what that's what we do in webinars. I am so openly asking for work. Yeah. So this is an interesting slide that I would like to give you. I mean, the idea is that your time is really valuable. I appreciate you coming and spending 90 minutes. We want to give every minute of value to each one of you. And this is a well-researched, beautifully created slide. Take this with you, spend some time to essentially mull over, see which are those areas. And Patanjali, I would say that, once you get this deck and you also have this recording that we will give you, you spend time with the team saying that, team, I am purposely not doing this with you. Okay, it's not that I cannot help you with any of these things. If I help you, then you never grow. Okay, and as we grow, I want people to become more of Patanjalis. Is what you want to tell. So maybe somewhere that communication has not gone to them. That you are doing it on purpose. They are thinking that you are possibly, ignoring them, or your style is not that you are supporting them. So if you can communicate that to them with this slide, maybe that's saying that, I mean, and give them this book called The Multipliers, and saying that I want you guys to be becoming multipliers, and hence I'm doing this on purpose. Yeah, now Karthik is attending the session.
टीम के साथ करना आसान होगा सर, बट मेरे बॉस को भी समझाना पड़ेगा ये बात को.
हाँ, बिल्कुल. हम लोग को बोला
वो हमारा आसान नहीं होने वाला है.
पतंजलि, हम लोग का नाम पे बिल फाड़ो. No problem. Yeah, Satish, you wanted to share something?
Yeah, I'm audible.
Yeah, please.
Okay, so I just wanted to share my experience, what Patanjali is saying.
Yes.
Because we do skip level meetings.
Sure.
Where my all reporting meet my boss by skipping me to give the feedbacks, right?
Yes.
So that my boss came to know that how I am doing, or whether my team is doing good or not, or my team is happy with their manager or not, some sort of that. So that happens, and I always do every month one-on-one with my manager to talk about the challenges or what is my aspirations and everything. So one of my one-on-one meetings where I also get the feedback from my manager, right? So basically he's a director, right? So he's my manager, I report to him. So he told me that your team is complaining. And I have a 35 people team, including all talent acquisition and training department, learning and training, and then compliance. So all report to me. So I said, what is the complaint? Then he said, like, people are complaining that you do not give them time, or you do not solve their problem. You always, you always say that yes, you are there, but people don't consider, or people don't feel that you are there, right? They do not feel that you are giving any suggestion to them to solve their problems. And then they always, work around or do something, and they struggle, and then they do things, but they are not getting any support from their manager. So as a manager, you should support them. You should involve on the daily basis, tell them what to do, tell them what to not do. So they should start, considering you as okay, he's also involving, and he's a good manager. He supports every time. So what the Patanjali is mentioning, that you can give this to team, but how would you give to your manager? So I just want to understand, like, what to do.
One thing I really want to be very candid about is that, see, whenever a leader is saying this, I think somewhere, and I have not spent time with you to really know the entire context, but what I am observing is that when I am saying this, okay, I am saying that when you are not going to be the idea guy, I am not saying that you're abdicating the team. Okay, what I am saying here is that, say, when your team is coming to you with a problem, Okay, you're not saying to them that, hey, I think you should go and solve it yourself. You are basically spending time with them saying that, यार आपको क्या लगता है कैसे कर सकते हैं? Then he's again asking you that, Satish, यार आप तो 12 साल के experience वाले हो, can you help me? And then you say, yeah, I have. I think there is this one very interesting video that I had watched earlier. Why don't you watch yourself and then see if you can figure that out? Yeah. So you are basically, one is that you're leaving them on their own to figure out idea guy, okay, to make them idea guy. But there is a journey that people will go through. So they should not feel that, अरे सतीश तो यार मतलब हम लोग को बोल दिया, but he is not helping me. So you have to slowly start creating. So when you do this exercise of telling them, hey, can you watch this video? Can you look at this template? You're creating a pattern in their thinking. So tomorrow, if there is a new problem, there is a new neurological pathway you have created in their mind, which means that they will themselves think, अच्छा सतीश सर के पास जाने के पहले एक वीडियो ढूंढ लूं क्या? I think maybe I'll find something. Yeah, and then they are starting to do that. This complaint that they are giving to your manager is because they are somewhere finding that Satish is not really. So you have to be very careful about not letting the person feel that they are abdicated on one hand. On the other hand, they should also feel that you are there to give them the nudge, that okay, that अगर कुछ नहीं हुआ तो सतीश कर लेंगे. So you are saying that ठीक कल तक try करो, अगर नहीं होगा तो then I'll figure out how to do it. So when we get Pooja Adhikar is right here. I mean, she just joined us 6 months ago. So many proposals she has created. Now she's become master of creating proposals. So when I first gave her, and the other thing that you have to be very also careful is that like you have to be prepared that the quality of output that you will get from your team in the first few rounds is not going to be the quality that you are expecting. Now, in those moments, what is the language you are using? What is your gesture? What is your conversation will make or break the person's confidence for future. So what we are doing is that there are so many subtleties that you have to be watchful about you as a leader. And then make sure that on one hand, they're excited to try something new. Or mana chalo, they are not meeting the deadline, they are not meeting the timeline, they are not meeting the quality. How are you dealing with that? अगर आपने उनको बोल दिया यार तेरे से तो कुछ होगा ही नहीं, छोड़ ला मैं कर देता हूं, खत्म, you destroyed him for his life. Can you handle those moments? So your ability to do that. So there is somewhere they are feeling that they are not getting that kind of grooming or support from Satish. Okay, and then you apply this framework that you saw earlier, right? So you create one or two Satish like you under you. Okay, so you don't need to work with all these people, so you create one or two more Satish, make them S4, put them, the other people to convert from S1 to S4, put this process around. So that way they will not feel that we are left alone, but they will feel that, oh, there is somebody. Ultimately what they should feel is that, agar mere se nahi hua, to boss sambhal lenge. That should be the feeling they should get. They should not be scared that, because if I don't do, what will happen to me? What will happen to you? Like the same boss should not say, yaar, aapko kaam diya tha, but you did not do that, because their failure is your responsibility. At Crossover, we have taken responsibility of our participant. Priya Nair, who is right now in the call here, she is one of the mentors. She actually takes participant and task. Okay, your transformation is our responsibility. So if you're not filling your action learning plan, I'm going to ask you this question. Which at some point is like, so if as a manager, are you taking those? And in background of all this, you will start creating people who are not going and getting upset with the behavior, but they are saying that, okay, Satish is there to guide us and help us. Yeah. So you try this exercise. I know I've given quite a bit of framework today. So I've got like another 5-7 minutes left. So just before I complete, I want to invite you for the next month topic of Leadership Chaska, which is strategy to results, because we are starting a new year in January. So you would have had your offsites, and you could possibly learn this 90-minute session where I'm going to talk about how do you create a vision, how do you align people, and how do you execute. Fantastic program that we otherwise run for 2 half days, but we're going to run in 90 minutes for all of you. And we also have this Emerging Leaders program that is starting in January. So this is a very fantastic 6 months program. I invite all of you to experience the program. This is the sixth batch, and you can see on our LinkedIn page the people who have written. I think some participants like Indrajit is right here, so he was one of our participants attending the first batch of Emerging Leaders Program, and we have constantly been running these batches. You can write to Karthik, who you have been in touch earlier also, and this is the 6-month journey for Emerging Leaders Program, and you can see how beautifully these modules are crafted. You've got emotional intelligence as the first module, followed by contextual leadership. We spoke a little bit today. Communication, humble inquiry, which bring in the motivation aspect. Multiplier mindset, one of the very powerful modules where we tell them that how can you multiply time to get more done in the same day. We are bringing in the research of Rory Vaden, Cal Newport very beautifully. And then we have got influencing and then negotiation and teamwork. Yeah. So this would be our this thing. So thank you for your time. I'll just unshare the screen and maybe we can have like 5 minutes closing comments by any of you or any last minute question. Yeah.
See, I have one point to add.
Sure.
Because
Sure.
in Indian, wherever many times I see the boss is supposed to know everything. And if he is not giving a solution, he is not a right boss.
Yeah. But slowly you should
Have you
tell.
many must have come across such situation. I have come across many situations like that.
Yeah, but times are changing, Satish. I can tell you the new generation is like so talented. If we can use some of these techniques, I think there is a lot potential that we have. And I hold leaders responsible for not unleashing the talent that we have and not becoming a talent magnet. So there is quite a bit of work.
I know that. I know the damage it creates, but they want some immediate solution at that particular moment, without realizing that at a later date it will actually is not good for them, good for the company.
Yes, absolutely, good. So thank you so much for joining today, and I look forward to having you guys. We are at 6:28, 2 more minutes to go, and then I look for this will be a recurring. Typically we'll keep it around 9th and 10th of every month, so you guys can come in. We'll also add you to our monthly newsletters. So you will keep getting. There is huge number of products that we have. We have a very powerful 1-year program for the sales team. So, there is huge opportunity India has today, but a lot of people are not really ready for sales. So we are created a 1-year program on very systematically develop the sales acumen of, how do you negotiate? How do you do consultative selling? How do you persuade teams? How do you have customer centricity, executive presentation skill? Very nicely crafted one after another. Yeah. So you are more than welcome to explore that. Karthik is our champion of sales, so whatever you need, he can support you on that. Yeah. So thank you so much for joining today. And from your body language, doesn't look like you are leaving so soon because nobody is quickly. Yeah. But,
actually, we are enjoying a lot, and to be frank,
I know I could see that. Generally, क्या होता है? Thank you बोलने के बाद फटाफट लोग चले जाते हैं.
तो हुआ था. I mean, अभी why we are just.
हमें लग रहा था
It
हम
seems like
यही
it's
बातों
getting
पे और
too
2
much
मिनट
early.
हमारा रहेंगे साथ में.
So one thing, Patanjali and Satish, what you said, I regularly get this comment, and then I'll tell you the reason for that. The reason is that I don't come from a very training background, so my language is very, very delivery style. Okay, meaning delivery operations focused. तो आपको लग रहा है कि मेरे ऐसे बातचीत हो रही है, मतलब ट्रेनिंग प्रोग्राम नहीं चल रहा. So when we do our regular sessions also, like 3 hours just passes by. Can you imagine 90 minutes just pass by? And I had so much to have this discussion with all of you, but samay nahi tha. Otherwise, I had kept so many blocks of conversation. So imagine if we were to do this 90 minutes again, 90 will go just fly like this. So and also what we also make an attempt is that make everything very simple for all of you. Like जैसे मैंने वो आकाश का example दिया. Autonomy is like amazing. Like when I look at Akash as my son, I'm learning so much about autonomy very quickly. Yeah. So all our examples are very easy to learn. So at the end of the session, you go back with a lot of hope, a lot of motivation to yourself. Yeah, ये तो बहुत easy है. कर लेंगे, कोई बड़ी बात नहीं. And we are very generous as a company to give all our content to our participants. So you will see the entire deck coming to you. You can share it with your people. We'll also send you the coaching questions so you can use it in your organization. We don't want to hold everything with us. We are a very giving organization. So thank you so much. So
Thank
I
you.
look forward to seeing you again next month on an interesting topic called strategy to result. And since it is going to be Zoom, there is no limit of number of people. So if you want to get your project managers, your delivery managers, let them attend. No harm in bringing them together. It would be nice. And we keep it around 5 to 6 that it's an evening time. Thursday ko generally hota hai, so there's not too much of pressure. So please join in with your teams and have a good time.
Yeah, sure.
Thank you,
Sure.
sir.
Thank you.
It's a pleasure.
Bye.
Thank you very much. Thank
Bye.
you.
Bye, Padma.
Thank you,
Thank you.
everyone.
Thank you, everyone.
Yeah.
Looking forward to seeing you next time.
Thanks, Yogesh.
Yeah, okay. Bye, Bye, Supreet.
Thank you, Yogesh.
Yeah, thanks so much.
Thank you.
Hello, Ashish. Namaskar.
Namaskar, sorry. I was there, but then